Chapter 11. Supreme Self-Freedom. Pupil, so, supreme self-freedom is our very wonderful subject for today, is it? I am sure that you shall prove to us that supreme self-freedom can be ours, that mind does rule the world. Master, you may always be quite certain that your mind rules your world, and you may always know that your individual world is a branch of the universal world. Your mind makes of your world a thing of beauty, peace, and absolute freedom, if only you so will. Pupil, I am convinced that this is true, if only one could truly control one's mind, thoughts, and feelings at all times. I know that others have attained this mastery, this self-control, but somehow it does not seem to be for me, as much as I desire it. Master, at one time in our lives each of us thought this same thing about the multiplication tables. How difficult they seemed to us as children, yet each of us mastered them by persistent effort. It is like that with absolute self-freedom. It is dormant within each soul, waiting only for us to call upon it, to arouse it, to recognize it, to give it our attention, our concentrated observation, in our every thought, our every feeling, every act. It is not difficult to have if we make it first in our lives, just as a great scientist puts his science before everything else. In theory, at least, all of us realize that we get only what we reach for and reach for steadily. Pupil, is not Annette Kellerman, the great swimmer, an example of this? Was she not a cripple as a child, and considered hopelessly crippled? Master, yes, she was. But through insistent, persistent, determined, steady effort, she became the physically perfect woman, a model for the women of the world. Her science was the science of health, the science of physical beauty and perfection. There are many sciences, and each of us may select the one with which we are most in tune, and pursue it to a dazzling goal. Pupil, but has not science boasted that it has disproved the Holy Bible? Master, it may be that some scientists make this boast, but it is not true. The fact of the matter is that science has confirmed the truth of the Bible. It might be said that science has written a new Bible for the thinking mind, merely by clarifying the old one. Science has made of the Bible the book supreme for those who are determined to live here and now. Science has proved that the word of life, of the Spirit, is a living word of power. Truly the heavens do declare the glory of God, and the firmament sheweth his handiwork. In reading your Bible, always substitute the word subconscious mind for the word Lord. Try this faithfully for a while, and see what an astonishing growth you will make. Try this with such passages as Isaiah 4:31, Mark 2:9-30, Luke 18:29-30, and a host of others. Look about you, look at the results achieved by those who have learned to love, to use, and to trust the mind. Strength, power, beauty, television, wire photography, microscope, telescope, spectroscope, all of these, yes, all things, are results from the great creative energy, whose progress, harmony, telephone, wireless, airplanes, chief attributes are these. 1. It is ever present, everywhere. 2. It is always amenable to suggestion. 3. It is forever responsive. And 4. It is eternally creative. This God energy, remember, manifests in the mind of man. In fact, the mind of man. The 3 Bible references given above, and many others, teach us that if one puts the development of the divine spark within first, over all else, the divine in return will make that one first with it. Truly then the best life has to give is the possession of that one. Pupil, am I right in believing that the precious promises of the Bible all hinge upon our making intelligent decisions, loving life God first in everything, and if I do, is everything I may desire sure to be mine? Master, that is right, if you make God first, if you really do make him first. That is to say, we should make it our first effort to know life's laws and to live them. In this connection, please read over and over again, or better still memorize letter perfect, the 22nd chapter of Job, beginning at verse 21 and continuing to the end of the chapter. The promises given there, the power, the freedom, the plenty, are yours, exactly as promised, if you will take the time, the effort, to become acquainted with the loving parent, power, which is always able, and ever more than willing to do these things in you, through you. As you read, be sure to bear in mind constantly that the 21st verse is the key to all of the others that follow it. The gist of this whole passage in Job is this: we get out of life exactly what we put into it, plus much increases interest on our faith. Some state this in a more homely way by saying that we get what we pay for, and no more. Pupil, I have often wondered about this in connection with tithing. Is it true that tithing is a very old law which has the greatest power back of it? Master, indeed tithing is a law which has much power in it. I have tithed for 25 years, religiously so. The practice of tithing is a divine habit-forming virtue. People tithe because they recognize God and wish to develop their recognition and expectancy. Regular, systematic tithers are those who have formed the habit of counting their blessings. As a result, their blessings constantly increase. Did not Abraham give 1/10 of his all to Melchizedek, as a token of acknowledgement that his successes were from God? And when Jesus sent his disciples forth into the cities of Israel, he expressly forbade them to take with them any money or provisions. Why? Because he wished the people of those cities to recognize God in his servants, and to support them with their tithes. As St. Paul said, the people who receive spiritual instruction shall administer some of their good to him who gives the instruction. It is a fact abundantly proved that the habit of tithing is a sure road to supreme self-freedom. Pupil, am I to understand that the habit of tithing would give me a consciousness of an abiding partnership with God? Because my tithing is to God and his servants? Is this correct? Does one tithe to God's cause in recognition, in loving recognition, of divine guidance? Does one necessarily have to tithe to churches only? Master, no, one need not tithe to churches only. Some people tithe regularly to missionary organizations, some to charities, and many tithe to individuals who work in God's vineyards, irrespective of organizations or affiliations. The value of tithing lies in the establishment of the feeling of constant divine partnership. Tithing brings one into the high and fruitful consciousness of God and company, unlimited. If one keeps in conscious touch with the ever-present responsive substance of life by regularly returning to it some of the substance funds which it has placed in his stewardship, this constitutes a practical acknowledgement of blessings, and thus increases the blessings manifold. The ancient Israelites proved this fact consistently, and for centuries the Jews have practiced tithing, as they do today. The Mormons of today prove this law constantly also. When I was lecturing in Salt Lake City during the Depression, there was not a single Mormon or Mormon family on relief. The reason is obvious. They tithe. Pupil, I did not realize that tithing was so very great a stimulant for the steady inflow of supply, but now it seems to me that it would give one the same sense of security one has when the taxes are paid in full. Master, that is right. After all, your money is yourself, you are God's, your money is his also. Humanity exchanges its abilities, integrity, labor, etc. for money. In my 35 years as a practitioner, I have had thousands of people come to me for spiritual help for increased supply. But in all of that time, I have never had a solitary tither seek my help for financial increase. In fact, I have had very few tithers, ones who religiously follow the practice, ever seek my help for any kind of inharmony. Tithing does carry with it a wealth of blessings. Giving is worship. If one really worships God and considers Him one's best business partner, one acknowledges His help by giving to His cause first. The average person gives a mere pittance to God after they have paid everything else. That is not tithing in any sense. A tithe is not a tithe unless it is 10%. The tithe should be paid first, from the gross profit, and it should be tendered in genuine love, thanksgiving and joy, if not in sheer abandon. Pupil, is tithing required by the intelligent, creative power in life? Surely God does not need the money, or lands, or cattle. Master, tithing is voluntary. Yet it is required if one wishes a continual increase of blessings. It is a great joy to recognize God as a partner. To me, a partner means one of whom we are fond, with whom we labor for a common good, and with whom we happily share in love. In order to receive benefits from tithing, there must be joy in giving. To tithe grudgingly yields no blessings, or few at best. He who gives himself with his gifts feeds three: himself, his hungering neighbor, and me. Tithing brings with it an abiding sense of security, has within its loving bosom an abundance of success ideas, which when adopted bring health, wealth, and happiness. This is the law of tithing. Pupil, thank you for this lesson on tithing. I should like to hear much more about it, but are you going to tell us today how to reason ourselves into certainty? Master, this is hardly what I meant when we were discussing reasoning out an affirmation before trying to absorb it. For example, let us consider freedom. Freedom is joy, joy is freedom. But it seems there are few who have either freedom or joy to any great extent. Many seem to be bound by miseries. Their every day is full of discord. To them work, all kinds of work, is disagreeable. To them most people are unbearable. Things that happen are awful. The weather is abominable. It rains when it shouldn't. When it should rain, it doesn't. They buy things, then regret it. They sell things and then are hurt because they didn't receive more money. If they don't go places, they feel slighted. If they do go places, they feel sure they were snubbed. If they don't have things, they are despondent. If they do have things, they are not what they want, etc., etc., etc. Pupil. Heavens! Is this the average person you are describing? Master, no. I am just giving you an intimate glimpse of a person in bondage, of ones who have not trained their minds to hold only thoughts of absolute freedom. Perfect joy and freedom are yours now. Take them and make them yours. Pupil, how may one enter upon these joy thoughts at will? Master, that is the place for the affirmation. Take, for example, the thought, the very best life has to give is mine now. Reason about this for a minute. Why is it true? Because life God made me out of Himself and lives in me. The very life of me is God. Life is happy, life is free, life is health, life is wealth, life is all good. Pupil, I can see this, but suppose that when you have satisfied yourself this is true, some member of the family, or some friend, jabs you with a very unkind remark. What then? Are you supposed to laugh that off? Master, if you really are conscious that the best life has to give is yours, you will instantly realize at all times that you are not supposed to try to live for another. You have all you can do to keep the stream of joy flowing through your own consciousness. When I first began my study with Troward, he cautioned me every day. Watch your thoughts and feelings. They do take form, you know. And he really got that great truth across to my consciousness. When I went to Rouen Manor to study with him, I had been accustomed to a personal maid all of my life. I took my maid with me when I went to Troward. There was not one modern convenience where I lived in Rouen Manor, and none could be obtained thereabouts. We had been there just a month when Marie came to me in tears and told me she was heartbroken to leave me, but she could not stay in that awful place any longer. She just must go back to Paris. She was too lonely, etc. Of course, my first thoughts were, If Marie goes, what shall I do? Here we are miles from anywhere, with no conveniences of any kind. What does this mean? Why should this disaster come to me now of all times, when I really am trying to know God? Just when my thoughts reached that station, and were gathering momentum, Troward's warning, "Watch your thoughts," came to my mind, and I stopped right there. I began to use the will exercise he had taught me. I also used affirmations he had given me, to hold my thoughts where the creative power in thoughts and feelings could produce what I wanted. What I wanted most was freedom to continue with my study. I deliberately held my thoughts in the right place. Only 2 days later, the lady from whom I rented our rooms came to me and said she believed that Marie had been trying to tell her that she was leaving me. Marie was French and spoke no English, and that she wished she could find me another good personal maid before she went to Paris. I told the lady this was the case. She said that her daughter was coming home from London in just a few days, that her daughter had worked there for several years as a good personal maid, and that she felt sure the girl would be happy to work for me in that capacity. Marie left after teaching the other girl just how I wished things done, and the new maid was as satisfactory as the first. In this episode, I had my first good lesson in knowing that I must watch my thoughts, that they do become things. Pupil, you have said that your favorite affirmation is the Lord's Prayer. Please show us how you would reason this out in order to better understand it before using it, part of it at least. Master, very well. The first 2 words of that prayer carry a tremendous power if they are thought over or spoken with much feeling. What does our Father suggest? Our Father, our very own Father? When you were a child, what was your idea of your Father? Your idea of him may have been exaggerated, but you believed him to be rich beyond all words, influential, kind, loving, good, always ready to give, to help, to comfort, to make you happy, and to see that you had everything that your little heart could desire. Then try to feel yourself as a child of God, with all the enthusiasm of a child. Know that you are so like him that he adores you, guides you, shields you, protects you, gives you everything he has to give in generous quantity, that you are, and that you have, his all. Do this with the whole prayer. Think about it all, understand and assimilate it all, then use it all. If you will do your part, you will find that the Father principle in life is always responsive. Your objective quality of mind may not know what is best for you because it can only realize the objective and limited side of life. But the Father in you, he knows. Ask him, be guided by him. Your real desires are but reflections from him which shine through and register in your mind. Pupil, would it not be a good idea for us to frequently refer back to the lesson on desire, a divine impulse, when there is any confusion of mind about desires? Master, yes, that is recommended. In fact, I trust that you will frequently review all of the lessons of this course. And I devoutly wish that you would earnestly try to make God first in your heart, and mind and soul, and daily and hourly life. If you will, it will mean for you a life of supreme self-freedom, and truly you will make of yourself a reflection of God's own idea, who is the perfected you. To this end I recommend the following, all of which I urge you to memorize, letter perfect. I also urge you to use and yet again use these points and affirmations, faithfully and regularly. Here they are, for daily systematic loving use. Your hourly effort should be that of fully realizing your true place in the great plan of life. Just what is this true place for each individual? It is, as Troward taught me, the following 3 things. 1. Worship of God alone. 2. The absolute equality of all individuals. 3. Complete control of all else. Affirmations. 1. I am intelligent, loving spirit, living in creative love and power. In him do I live and move and have my whole being. 2. I am a specialized part of God's own self-manifestation. God is specialized in me, therefore I am perfect harmony. 3. I am direct knowledge of all truth. I am perfect intuition. I am spiritual perception at its fullness. There is but one wisdom, therefore I am perfect wisdom. 4. My mind is a center of divine operation. Therefore I am always thinking good thoughts, speaking only constructive words. Time is eternal, God is the only giver. His loving intelligence is continually working in and through me, hence I am ever working correctly. I am thinking the right thoughts in the right way, at the right time, towards the right result. God's work in and through me is always well done. 1.5. I am specialized spirit. I am always receiving rich, powerful inspirations from the great, universal parent spirit. Divine intelligence is always thinking new, fresh, clear ideas through me, ones far beyond any I have ever known before. My prayers are the outflow of the great Oversoul of the universe. They go forth in His name, and always they accomplish that for which I send them. God is glorifying Himself in and through me now. Chapter 12. Exercises for health. Breathing, bathing and short, easy, profitable exercises for health. Note: these exercises are given as a stimulant to your capacity, both mental and physical. Mind and body are one. When both body and mind are strong, happiness and success usually follow, especially if one adds to them mental and bodily efficiency. Correct breathing is one of nature's most powerful methods of building a powerful body, a perfect body. Let us begin now to breathe correctly and profitably. If these exercises are taken as intended, there will not be any strain. The first exercise is this. Upon arising in the morning, first drink 2 or 3 glasses of water. The effect will be better if you will take the water just as hot as you can bear to drink it, with the juice of 1/2 a lemon in it. Then stand erect, or else lie flat on the floor. Exhale completely. Whether standing or lying on floor, bend knees slightly. As you exhale, contract both the chest and the diaphragm, pushing the latter out and down as far as possible without causing strain. Naturally, this will extend the abdomen. And then, without lifting your chest, pull abdomen in as far as you can. Then, without any attempt at correct breathing, push abdomen out and in rapidly at least 12 times. After you have mastered the above exercise for the abdomen and diaphragm, take the next exercise, for not more than 2 minutes each time. This exercise is, 1. Stand erect, or lie flat on the back. Exhale completely, contracting chest. And slowly inhale through the nostrils, trying not to allow chest to move. And let the diaphragm push the abdomen down, then hold the breath for 3 or 4 seconds. Exhale slowly. Then forget all about abdomen and diaphragm and inhale deeply, letting breath lift chest walls up and out to their fullest capacity. Hold breath a few seconds and exhale all the breath. If you will practice these 2 simple exercises each morning for 10 days, you will note a great improvement in physical condition and vitality. The head and mind will be clearer, and you will have a real zest for work. No doubt you know that the right kind of bath is a splendid nerve tonic, as well as a most important point in attaining physical and mental perfection. When bathing for cleanliness, the water should be of blood temperature, never hot or cold. And after the cleansing bath, fill the wash basin with cold water. And scoop up 2 handfuls and apply to the forehead, and rub up and down the face. Dip hands in cold water again, and shake off all surplus water, then rub off balance behind the ears. Repeat process on back of neck. These things soothe and strengthen the nerves. 2. A certain way of relief for constipation is this. First, meditate on the perfect and harmonious action of life. In nature, one does not find either inaction or overaction. Think over how the life in your body regulates the flow of blood, the action of the muscles, both voluntary and involuntary, and how all of these things are done in perfect harmony. For a regulatory exercise in relieving constipation, the following is splendid. And first, as soon as you arise in the morning, drink 2 glasses of hot water. Then stand or lie on the back on floor. Breathe deeply. As you inhale, extend the abdomen and contract it as you exhale, contracting it all you possibly can. Do this without letting chest rise at all. Do the exercise rapidly, vigorously, always inhaling through the nostrils and exhaling through the mouth. Take about 8 seconds for each complete breath. Do this for a minute or two, then use another minute to recover normal breathing. A second exercise is recommended, and it is better if taken in connection with the one just given. It is this, and again stand erect or lie on the back, preferably the latter. Draw first the right knee, and then the left up to the chest as snug as possible. Inhale deeply as you put foot down to floor, and exhale as you draw knee down to chest. Do this exercise rapidly, vigorously for 1 minute. After the exercise, try to get into the feeling of gratitude that you are able to consciously tune in with the harmonious action of life. If you keep thinking deeply on the fact that all of the qualities of life must be present anywhere and everywhere that life is, the feeling of oneness will come, and you will enjoy the thrill of it. The very best there is yours now, and the perfect movement is manifesting. Now. 3. How to retain youth, and to banish gray hairs and wrinkles if they offend you. Think, know, feel, be thankful for the fact that life has no age, and yet is ageless. Give this fact a little profound thought every day. Soon you will get the deep and abiding awareness of it. In your mind's eye, and in memory, try to recall how you felt about certain things when you were 20, how you looked then, and acted, and bubbled over with energy. Ask yourself if your point of view about life in general has changed radically, or if you have simply forgotten how to live life and love it, as you did then. The emotions, the fine understanding, the zest for activity, as you had them in youth, have not glided off without leaving a trace in the development of your advancing years. Try to give yourself a careful going over mentally each day, and live for a while each day the experiences of your youth, bringing them back into your feeling. Perhaps you say, "Oh, but youth is so foolish." That may be so, but remember always that it does things. Try to weed out and destroy the doubts of your advancing years. Try to prune out of yourself, out of your thought and feeling, your tendency towards being over-conservative. Old age is only an ossified idea. Being over-conservative and opposed to progress and change are the things that make one old, and usually impotent. Your youth was all right. Live it again. Live it in feeling, and keep the feeling bolstered temporarily by making mental pictures of your happy cocksure self as you were at 20. See your face, figure, and hair as they were then. And each day do the following exercise for the banishment of gray hair. Vigorously rub the whole scalp, from the nape of the neck up over the crown to the hairline on the forehead, using Glover's mange cure. This liquid is not for dogs only, but is also an excellent tonic and stimulant for human hair. Rub the liquid well into the scalp. The gray hair may fall out for a while after you have done this exercise faithfully for several days, but keep it up, and new hair will come in with the natural color of the hair of your youth. Yes, mentally go back to 20, and balance its vitality with your present wisdom. Know with all of your heart and soul, and all of your emotional self, that life as life is manifesting in you in a particular way, in order that it may find new avenues for expressing itself as the joy of living. Make an hourly effort to keep in your consciousness your joys only. Make them register, deliberately be happy, and your body will respond to it in every way. It will also help, particularly for the ladies, to sit in front of the vanity a half hour each day, seeing yourself not as you are now if aged, but as you were in youth. Do this with deep concentration, deepest feeling, affirming something like this: I am life, I am youth, eternal youth. The important thing, however, is to see yourself as youth, to feel youth, to know that you are youth. Soon you will find a decided improvement setting in. Thought is always creative. Soon you will look younger, soon you will feel younger, soon you will be younger, not in years of course, but years do not make aging. Some are old at 25, others are young at 80. It is flexibility of mind, a keen enjoyment of living, that make for elasticity of muscle and for youth. 4. A method of attracting money. Meditate on the riches of life as it really is. All that we can see or think of in nature shows us only abundance. Every growing thing is amply provided for. The grass and tress and other growing things do not know poverty. In the soil, in the air, in the sunshine, there is an abundance of nourishment for all. Think about this great fundamental truth, because it applies to you also. Wherever you may be, whatever your station in life may be, the Creator of all life has just as amply provided for you as He has for the grass, the birds, all of nature. It is not His fault that all do not express or manifest this bounty. People are as poor, or will soon be as rich, as they accept for themselves in the consciousness. Everything that your individual nature may require has already been provided for you by the Creator. One has only to accept it, first in consciousness, then in fact. Your steady recognition of this fact forms a veritable magnet in the mind which will attract every requirement to you, not as money that will drop in your lap without effort, but as ideas, which when acted upon, will yield an abundant harvest. Try this. Begin right now to take the time, 2 or 3 times daily, to focus your thought at the base of the brain. Spirit of God life, I am grateful to you for the abundance that is mine now. Any other good affirmation that may appeal to you, one that you compose for yourself perhaps, will do, provided the use of it lifts your thought and feeling into certainty that abundance is yours now. The more completely you can flood your mind, your consciousness, with the recognition of life's abundance, for you as well as for all, the more quickly your thought and feeling will manifest in form. Rich ideas will come to you intuitively, particularly if you impress the riches that are yours now upon your mind just before going to sleep. Any good idea, if acted upon with wisdom and energy, will yield great abundance for anyone who apprehends and works in faith towards its fulfillment. 5. The value of sleep and a new method of inducing it. Sleep is nature's restorative for tired tissues and often is found to be the only effective refreshener of the body machine. The exact amount of sleep required varies with different individuals, much depending upon how fatigued a person is when retiring. If one feels the need of relaxation and sleep, and yet cannot easily go to sleep, try the following method, which you may have read in my book, The Healing Power is Life. It is this: and sit nude on the edge of your bathtub, feet outside the tub. Take a fountain syringe and fill it with water that is blood warm, not hot. Place the end of the tube at nape of neck and let the warm water trickle down your spine until you begin to feel relaxed. Then go to bed quickly, comfortable, warm, and relaxed. Another aid towards relaxation: and relaxation, if complete, is sure to induce sleep in a weary person, is this: lying in bed, on the back, and deliberately send the message down to your toes. Firmly relax. Continue sending the message until the toes do spread and relax. Then relax ankles in same manner, also knees, then base of spine, and the spine itself to base of head, also hands and arms. As a rule, one will never get this far with the relaxation exercise. Almost invariably one will slip off into deep, restful sleep before having consciously relaxed more than half the body. Upon awakening, if you feel recuperated, don't force yourself to remain in bed, whatever the hour. Get up and do something that you are interested in doing. Be sure the room you sleep in is always well ventilated. Almost all people breathe more deeply when sleeping than when awake, unless exercising quite freely. Do not eat a big meal just before retiring. If you will give this method of inducing sleep a fair trial, you will find it very effective in inducing refreshing sleep that will have a real recuperative value. Chapter 13: How to Live Life and Love. IT. Master, if you are anxious and uncertain about the future because of the fast-moving and extremely chaotic changes now going on all about you, here is a lesson that will help you find your true self and to stay at peace. Once we really find the true self, we are in tune with life as it is. Then we can live life and love it. Life really is glorious once one knows how to live it. Try to imagine for a few minutes that you know a secret which opens all of the closed doors of seeming limitation, and that you can then step into a new world in which all is life and liberty. In order to enter this fair paradise of freedom, the mind must be trained to choose carefully the emotional trend of thinking. Pupil, do you mean that only those who have developed their different mental faculties through study and practice of truth can enter this kingdom? Master, that is exactly what I mean, since thoughts alone are creative. Those who have learned the value of the trained will, imagination, intuition, and who live accordingly, can really feel secure. The tendency of thought, the habits of thought, determine with precision one's outward affairs. So as you start to travel this road which leads to absolute liberty in all things, it is necessary to leave behind all excess baggage, such as self-pity, intolerance, criticism, fear, despondency, feelings of superiority, and all other negative and destructive occupants of your mental house. Take all these and put them in a secure bag, then tie a string of resolute determination tightly around them, and dump them on a trash pile. Cover the worthless bag of destructive evils with oil, and set it on fire. Then are you really ready to start on your journey? Pupil, it would seem that one is only able to go places on this road by developing self-control. Is that so necessary? Master, yes, vitally necessary. However true and powerful a truth may be, there must be a method of application of the principle to the individual. The best and surest method of manifesting the truth that God and man are one, and that God lives in and thinks through each of us, is to deliberately cultivate self-control with its consequent serenity of mind. In your endeavor to use this great power for your individual purpose in the affairs of your hourly life, you must be able to catch your thought the minute it begins to wander into doubts, fears, condemnations, criticisms, etc., and turn it in the direction you do wish to go. Thus will you build certainty into your soul and body, and the possession of certainty within means certainty and all things good in the affairs. Pupil, you make it seem that my disposition and self-control need much of my attention. I will admit that I am not patient, and of course I am intolerant, but only with those who deserve it. Only with those who do not seem to try to do their part do I lose my temper. Master, it is not my intention to be personal about your disposition, but I do say earnestly that every person who wishes to enjoy the blessings of true freedom must learn careful thought selection, which means absolute thought control, or self-control. In this way you will very soon entertain only the thought guests you admire and enjoy, the uncouth, the grouchy, the selfish, the condemnatory, the suspicious, the tramp thoughts, all of whom will try to make a convenience of your mental domain, must be turned out of your mind. The best way to do this is put your whole feeling into an affirmation, whatever one appeals to you at the moment. Hold steadily to that thought and feeling until everything unlike it is out of your mind. Then lock your mental doors and use your will to keep out thoughts you have dismissed from your presence. Pupil, this making my mind do my new will is not going to be easy. I will practically have to make over completely my habitual mental processes. Master, no, it will not be easy. But the goal the discipline will lead you to is worth 1,000 times the effort required, however much effort that may be. If you will mentally stick tight to your resolve to make your mind a conscious center of divine operation, even for 1 week, seeing yourself growing steadily into what you wish to become, you will be amazed at your own growth and the genuine interest you have in everything around you. Also, you will discover many wonderful things about yourself that you never knew before. Once you focus your attention and your intention on the intelligent life within you, and try to reproduce it in your own self, you will begin to get results that will seem almost phenomenal to you, and at once. Keep your consciousness focused on the fact that the spirit of life has no fears, no anxiety, and soon your feeling will correspond with it. Just try this, say for 2 weeks, without slipping. Then ask yourself if you would go back to your old estate if you could. Pupil, is one apt to be hypnotized, and thus hindered in progress, by the thoughts of others about one? Sometimes I seem to be making real progress, when suddenly, and for no apparent reason, there is an almost uncontrollable impulse and feeling of, oh, what is the use? I am like a ship without a rudder, trying to plow through some invisible and invincible force, and getting nowhere fast, as the saying is. At best, these experiences are long detours off the main road. What causes these episodes? Master, you gave it its right name in the beginning. It is hypnotism, but as a rule it is self-hypnotism, almost unconsciously done because of the old habits of thought, and it comes as the result of your letting things other than your aim hold your attention. Your efforts to control your thoughts should be steady, continuous, with no unguarded moments. Mere spasmodic efforts, however strongly indulged in at the times of their occurrence to you, will never take you very far on the road to the new goal you have set. Before you study any further in these lessons, yes, right now, make up your mind positively that you are entering upon the study to win, and that you will make an earnest, steady, continuous effort to do so. My own personal remedy for overcoming any tendency to slip back into the old rut of wrong thinking, and I assure you that I have always found it a most potent and sure panacea, is, believe it or not, that wonderful thing, derisively called old-fashioned and out of date by some, the Lord's Prayer. Go carefully over the Lord's Prayer every day. If you do not already know it thoroughly, memorize it, so that you can repeat it anywhere, anytime, silently if you like. Us it, repeat it carefully, slowly, and with much depth of feeling, as often as there is the least tendency to slip off your path. After you have finished with your reading, or repetition of the prayer, then take up your mental picture again, mentally seeing, feeling, believing, knowing that you are already in possession of whatever it is that you want. This is what Jesus meant when he said for us to always ask, believing that ye already have and ye shall have. If you will do these things, very soon you will find that you are on the road to freedom and joy, and it will constantly grow easier for you to stay on the highway, without so many detours. Pupil, just now I should like very much to have more money. In fact, I must have it. Do you mean that I can attract the money I need by living with the Lord's Prayer for, say, half an hour every morning and every night, just precipitate the money right out of the very air? That seems incredible. Master, what you ask is incredible, and you are not getting my real meaning. The finest statement of the law of life ever uttered is, in my opinion, that wonderful, wonderful statement of Jesus, namely, "Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, right useness, and then all things will be added unto you." But please note that first, you must seek the kingdom, must make an honest effort to make your mind a center of divine operation only, and for its own sake, and not from any ulterior motive. Then will all things be added unto you. What happens to you through the steady, persistent use of the Lord's Prayer, as we were discussing it, is this. With the constant change in your mental attitude, as you progress, you are developing more and more strength and spiritual power. This self-mastery you are steadily developing is the growth of divine wisdom, power, and beauty within you. Naturally then, your whole outside world will gradually change to correspond to your new inside world, because your most habitual thoughts takes outward form. Delightful changes will come into the circle of your individual world. Your thought and feeling will attract corresponding shapes, and you will feel much encouraged to go on and on and on into more and more joy and freedom. Chapter 14. Imagination and Intuition. Master, today we shall discuss that great power we call imagination. Pupil, may I ask just what imagination is? I have heard you often speak of it as our spiritual aeroplane, and say that it wings us. But just what is it? Master, no mortal can possibly answer that question. With all of our scientific research, no one has found any rational clue as to the source of this great power, outside of God or Spirit. Nor has anyone been able to determine how far the use of imagination is able to carry one. It is infinite. It is the mystery of mysteries, and it might be compared to electricity in this respect. Yet we know it does exist, and that its power for good is inconceivable, if used constructively, correctly. What we should do is to inquire into its usefulness to us. Every normal person is equipped with it to some degree, and like the will, the imagination can be developed. If rightly understood and correctly used, it will perform seeming miracles. Pupil, but why do you call imagination the spiritual aeroplane? Master, because imagination, correctly used, can and will lift one, as if on wings, above and beyond all limitation, above one's low, narrow views of life, into a cloudless domain of true perspective. Imagination gives one clear vision of possibilities in your life, which you have never been able to see before. Then, while you realize that it takes determination and effort to achieve success, you also know that you can, with the imagination, tap the source of unlimited possibilities and intelligent energy. In a flash, that mysterious winged thing called imagination shows you where all the riches of life are to be found. Pupil, suppose one feels weak, obscure, poor, that you know your ideas are good, but that you lack the money or health to carry them into effect. What can imagination do about these things? Master, imagination will reveal that strength and power and means are to be found within your divine self, and that a better and better acquaintance with, and a more frequent use of, the God powers within is certain to lead to success on any line. Pupil, can imagination lift one to great spiritual heights, or does it pertain more to material success? Master, Jesus, the Nazarene, lifted himself to the exalted Christhood through understanding and using his powers of imagination. Is that not reaching the heights spiritually? Pupil, is it the imagination that opens the door for limitless good to enter? Master, no, not correctly speaking. It is intuition, a feminine, or soul, quality, which first captures an idea from the infinite and passes it on to the imagination. Imagination raises one to a place in consciousness where all things are not only possible but are present, spiritual facts. Look all about at the ones who have risen above every conceivable handicap to very great success. Let us take Louis Pasteur for example. He did not have any better mentality, or more strength, or more money than any other ordinary Frenchman, and he was just as obscure as the lowest of them. His mental tools, by nature, were no sharper than yours are. But that strange and mysterious thing called imagination was very active in him, and soared far beyond his scant equipment and early hardships into new realms of wisdom. Many times he was not sure, but he imagined, and because he imagined he discovered, and because he discovered he wrought miraculous cures, and to this day his wisdom prevents disease and death in countless millions. Truly, Pasteur was a saint. The same is true of Paracelsus. People said he was lucky. Envious and lazy people always say this of anyone that succeeds. But the cures of Paracelsus were not luck. They were the result of his imagination and industry. Jesus intimately acquainted himself with God through the use of his fertile imagination, and through use of the same mystic power, he was able to enter into other lives. His success easily can be attributed to his ability to see God, which is perfection, in every person he contacted, however tragic, lonely, hopeless, or vicious that one seemed. Through his recognition of God in all men, he helped men to see God in themselves. This was the source of his great power. Pupil, then imagination is a veritable dynamo, and not just a means of trivial, idle daydreaming? Master, yes. Recognize your imagination as a dynamo of limitless power. Use all of it that you possess whenever you need it. Understanding of it, and experience in using it, will readily prove it to be the most powerful force in your mental equipment. Used correctly, it will carry your light up among the brightest stars of highest heaven. It is not enough to dream and idly desire. Not any more than it is enough to start an aeroplane's motor, just to watch the propeller go round and round. You must fuel your imagination with knowledge and purpose. You must take your bearings and hold your course. Risks, hardships will be only still greater opportunities to use your imagination in your journey through the clouds. Pupil, all of this sounds very interesting and inspiring, but when I look about me and see the people who are succeeding and who have so much more in life than I have, it is confusing. They do not seem to know or care a thing about God. How about that? Master, if I were you, I would try attending to my own knitting and start at once to develop my own power. Also, I would stop envying others their success. Pupil, oh, I am not envying anybody anything. I simply do not understand. Master, it would help if you would try to avoid a tailspin of self-pity. As soon as you observe someone who is getting on better than you are, you must project yourself into his life critically. Try doing this same thing constructively. Explore his tactics, his tastes, his imagination and industry, and then ask yourself if you might not get along better and faster if you adopted some of the means he employs. Pupil, how can I know how another does his work to succeed? And I did not realize that I have been feeling sorry for myself. How would it be to try to see myself as others see me? Master, it would help very much if you will turn your imagination on yourself without any excuses or alibis. Your imagination will show you your true self, if you have the courage to use it and trust it. And let your intuition help you also. Chapter 15. husbands, wives, children and wills. Children, how to bring them forth if you wish them. Home, husbands, wives, if you desire them. Pupil, it seems to me that many of my married friends would be perfectly happy if only children would come to them. It seems strange they cannot have any. Master, no, it is not strange. It is all according to law. Principle is not governed by precedent. Children are the result of knowing, feeling, living that law consciously or unconsciously. They are the birth of new ideas, something different. Every baby is a new idea, a new form in which life lives. Get into the habit of developing new ideas, and you will find these very ideas taking the form of children. It need not matter what the new ideas are about, so long as you fully develop them. Then mentally picture as many children as you would like to have. When about to give birth to the new idea in form, a baby, I would suggest the daily help of a really good mental science practitioner, also at the time of birth. With proper understanding, the birth of the child will be as natural as the spiritual idea which preceded the form. Pupil, all of this sounds very wonderful and convincing while I talk with you. At the risk of your thinking my mind a sieve, may I ask you to put all 3 steps, husband, home, children, into concise, separate form. Master, very well. The idea of concentration is not a leaky one, and I shall be happy to present them in the order you name. But first, what, exactly what, does the word husband mean to you? What characteristics do you wish the husband to manifest? What should his disposition be in order to be in tune with yours? These are your very first steps along the way. Pupil, to me husband symbolizes certain characteristics I would like to attract to myself from the masculine side of life, or quality of life, a type of man I admire. His main qualities should be for me understanding and love. With these 2 attributes well developed in both of us, I believe happiness would be certain to follow. Master, with love and understanding well developed in husband and wife, happiness is certain to follow. The one certain way to attract this type of husband is to develop love and understanding in yourself. It is a very great truth that like attracts like. So first think over carefully just the type of man you feel could be happy with you. Pupil, oh, I thought I was to think of the qualities my husband should have to make me happy. Master, that method would help to develop self-centeredness, selfishness. But the other way is a reaching out to give what you have and has a very great attracting power. When you have determined the type of man whom you feel would be happy with you, then take for yourself an early morning hour and through reading and meditation, think yourself into the quality of life you wish to attract and hold the feeling. Herein lies the real value of holding your thought and feeling into place, just like plugging into the light socket when you want light. If you keep pulling the plug, you will not get much light. The secret is, make your contact in thought and feeling and hold it with a happy, expectant attitude. Of course, this ability to hold an idea is arrived at by developing the will. Pupil, it seems to me that visualizing will not work unless the mental pictures made are held in place in mind. Is that right? Master, that is exactly right. They must be held in place, again just like the electric contact for lights must be held in place if you are to benefit by the light which will then stay on. Your magnet of thought and feeling draws from out of the whole universe such qualities as love, understanding, protection, provision, husband, children, whatever it is you have visualized. Pupil, it is like a postage stamp then, it only has value if it sticks. Am I right about this? That what I really am that I attract? Might this not be the meaning of Jesus' statement in Matthew 13:20 when he said, "For whomsoever hath to him shall be given, and he shall have more abundance. But whosoever hath not from him shall be taken away even that which he hath." When one really has a husband in feeling and mentally pictures him, one really does have that husband, and he is sure to appear in form as a human being. Is this not having more abundance? how slowly I grow. First I wanted my husband to have understanding, now I see that he is understanding. Master, that is it. Every conceivable thing that the human mind and heart can desire is already in existence. Like the electricity, it has always been there, and as soon as one realizes it and tunes the desire in with that quality of life, which it is, the current begins to flow in that direction. Then one has real abundance through continually having the recognition that whatsoever he may want, he already has it. Pupil, is the process the same if one wants several children? Master, yes, fundamentally it is the same. If we wish to manifest our new ideas of life in the form of children, it is necessary to make the desire known to God, the great, ever-present, formative, responsive, creative, intelligent power. It being responsive and creative, it manifests in form, as children. Pupil, just what should one first begin to think and feel? Master, first, let us suppose that your desire for children is in perfect accord with the divine plan to bring into earth existence a continual advancement of the human race. So your idea of the new birth is that you may be a means or a channel through which the all-creating principle of intelligent, beautiful, perfect life may reproduce itself in a new form, one capable of recognizing itself as an individualized action of pure spirit. Then by reading good articles or books, or by meditating on an affirmation that appeals to you, you tune your thought and feeling in with the very highest rate of vibration. Stay with the thought and feeling until you are certain that you have made your contact with the divine intelligence, just as you are certain that you shall turn on the light when you plug into a light socket. You know, under the latter circumstance, that the contact is made because the room is flooded with light. And in the mental instance, you know your contact is made because your whole feeling is flood. Pupil, it seems to me that one would have to keep constantly in mind the thought of begetting perfect ideas relative to every act. Master, Jesus said, watch and pray lest you enter into temptation. You feel towards God life in the same way your child feels toward you. If you obey the laws of life because you love your father life, your child will do the same. Pupil, is it necessary that both father and mother should desire the children? Should they take their meditations together? Should they discuss the hope of children? Master, if both father and mother desire children, the new idea will be a more perfect idea of God. It is not necessary to take the meditations together. In fact, I personally prefer to have all of my meditations alone. And it seems to me the less one discusses a desire with anyone, the more quickly and perfectly the desire manifests. If one talks about a thing, usually it is put in the future and is rarely discussed as a present fact. Hence, the manifestation is delayed indefinitely because of the habit of looking upon it as a future manifestation, as something that will be rather than something that is. Pupil, how is this for a method of bringing children of your own into one's personal life? First, study and think over the fundamental law of life, as always giving expression to its highest ideals and ideas in human form. Man is God's highest ideal, and the children of men are specialized ideas of the one great creative source of all things. Are not our children the results of God's ideas of giving birth to our highest desires? Master, you have the right idea. Try to really feel that God, life, love, wisdom, is giving birth to a particular idea through you. Plant that idea, that thought seed, in the garden of your individual subconscious mind. By using your individual subconscious quality of mind, in this way you are doing your part to let all the creative energy in the universe act in and through you without limit. Thus you are a bridge between the two extremes in the scale of nature, one of which is the innermost creative spirit of life, and the other the particular, external form of a child. Your objective quality of thought power mentally sees your perfect child, then passes the thought and the picture into the creative power of your individual quality of subconscious mind, which in turn transfers the thought seed into all of the growing power there is in life, thus bridging the two extremes of nature. Your thought seed will grow into perfect externalization, just as a kernel of corn will when planted under the proper conditions. Pupil. This idea of a thought seed clears up the whole idea that my individual subconscious mind is the bridge between myself and the whole vast sea of life. Master, if you plant a kernel of corn, you first make sure the soil and the climate is the proper kind to grow corn. Pupil. Does that mean I should look into my own character and physical condition, and so forth, to determine if I really am the type of woman to bear perfect children? Master, you are right. It is vitally important to know these things. Once you have found out that these are clear, and you and your husband are sure in your minds that you wish to create and form your highest ideal of love as children, then proceed. Remember that the seed you plant, having all the vitality, all the vital essence necessary to draw to itself from out of all life, every element necessary to cause it to grow into a perfect outward reproduction, a perfect child. Every parent, or parent-to-be, should be an enlightened parent, of course, and should do all within the power to bring forth, cherish, nurture, and rear the finest children possible. It will help those who are, or who desire to be, parents, if they will inform themselves fully along the most scientific lines on this question. This they may do in numerous ways, through the reading of good books on the subject, ones that are written by specialists, also by taking courses on the subject that are offered almost continually through university extension plans, also in many places by city and state departments, and lastly to seek the advice and care of the best physicians from conception forward. Chapter 16. Life, Love, Beauty. Master, in his wonderful books, Judge Troward stresses often that the spirit of life also is one of love and beauty, and that where the one is, the others will be found too, as a matter of necessity. Where life is, love is. One is the correlative of the other. Where life and love are, beauty must be. Pupil, may we have another illustration to clarify this? Master, certainly. All persons have an appreciation of art. The ancient Greeks were supreme in the arts for many centuries. To this day, many of their works have never been equaled. I have never seen that fact more compellingly illustrated than it was one day last summer at our home on the Esplanade, Redondo Beach, California. A gentleman friend of Mr. Smith's, Worth Smith, my husband, who, like Mr. Smith, has been a student of the Great Pyramid for many years, called on us. He brought a wonderful book and showed us many lovely pictures of exquisite Greek vases. Alongside each photograph was a sketch of the same vase, with the basic design highlighted in geometry, many lines drawn to salient features of the sketch. Of all the grace and beauty and absolute perfection of symmetry I have ever seen, or hoped to, those pictures and sketches had it, without a solitary flaw in any of them. Each was purest harmony, so much so that one marveled, and it seemed that music itself flowed from them. Each vase was an expression of God, and his laws of life, love, beauty and harmony, executed to perfection, by artists in whom his love, beauty, harmony lived. Because of their adoration of beauty, and its source in the Father, they were able to conceive beauty in the mind when planning the designs of the vases. No doubt, they sketched the designs as shown in the book, by employment of the geometry in which they excelled. With the model before them, they then fashioned the works of superb harmony to glorify the earth. Wherever perfect harmony is, there you will find perfect love, for they are. Pupil. But all of us cannot make such masterpieces. You know, for all of us do not have such artistic talents. Do we? Master, all of us have some talent within us. Unfortunately, many seem to never realize it and never do anything about it. Even so, any person of intelligence can put into whatever task that one may have to do the spirit of life, love, beauty and harmony, if only one will, and can make of the fruits of the task many things of beauty. Some housewives, for example, make of housekeeping and rearing children a thing of drudgery as a result of their lack of illumination about the true divinity of housekeeping. Others put love, beauty, harmony, order and joy into the same task and make a glory of it. It is a matter of the spiritual consciousness one has, or acquires through study, if it is not there innately. Pupil, will you please cite an example from the Bible, which features this matter of consciousness of our divinity as being the root of all blessings? Master, gladly indeed. Study carefully St. Matthew chapter 13 verse 12. Jesus uttered those golden words to teach mankind that like does attract like, invariably and infallibly. That passage states the law of attraction at its best, including an unshakable faith, visualizing by means of which one has spiritually, or in the mind, even that which is sought, and which serves as a magnet of infinite power to draw to one the glad fulfillment in form, or physical reality, provided only one also works confidently and happily to carry out the ideas the Father gives one, through intuition, as steps in the path to the shining goal. Now let us directly quote the passage, then strip it bare of all the mystery so many claim it contains for them. Unfortunately, to many that verse remains a riddle for life, unless they are sufficiently interested to seek until they find the key to its solution. The passage reads, "For whosoever hath, to him shall be given, and he shall have more abundance, but whosoever hath not, from high in harmonies circumstances and conditions can bring to bear upon him, even to the point of losing all he has gained through habitual employment of secondary causation. For since he has not the awareness he is, or shall be, under the rule of an iron destiny," to quote Troward, "and dwells in anxiety and fear, knowing not that the eternal God is our refuge, and a very present help in trouble." Pupil, can that love, beauty and harmony be caused to flow from one person, a practitioner let us say, into and through another, so that the second party will be aware of the spiritual uplift, and receive corresponding benefits? Master, yes indeed, that is done easily. That is the mission of the practitioner, for he or she does these things for others many hours a day. I well recall an incident that occurred not long ago in the beautiful home of a dearly beloved friend and student in Denver. I was sitting with her privately in her lovely living room, holding her left hand in my right, thus completing a circuit exactly as an electric circuit is made, positive pole in contact with the negative pole. With my mind I made contact with the love, beauty and harmony the Spirit is. From the universal spirit of life, those qualities flowed into me, and through me into my dear friend, and through her back into the universal. For minutes we kept the contact, and both of us were aware of the surge of tremendous power flowing through us. I have this friend's kind permission to mention her name. She is Grace N. Northcutt. It is she whose gracious generosity accounts for the new edition of this book you are now reading. Pupil, then it is true that as one makes of it a habit to consciously recognize God in one's daily, hourly, even minute by minute living in that degree, one will get good results? Master, yes. The correspondence is exact. As we apply the laws of electricity, we are certain to get results that correspond to those laws only. It is folly to apply one set of creative laws to a problem and expect to get results that correspond to a different code. So it is that if we set in motion through concentrated and consecrated thinking the laws of harmony, then only harmony will manifest in and through us, and in our affairs. Again, I give you the golden key which will unlock any door of bondage and which will never disappoint you, if you persist in the use of it in wisdom. It is, I repeat, that 12th verse of the 13th chapter of Matthew. Pupil, how is it obtained? What price does one have to pay for the key? Master, the price is given in the 15th chapter of John, and is, as Jesus said, abide in me. That will put you in an entirely new relationship to your Father and to your environment, will open up many new possibilities hitherto undreamed of, all by an orderly sequence of creative laws that result from your new mental attitude. Thought is the energy by which the law of attraction is brought into operation. It is by thought that we keep the sap of life flowing from the trunk into the branches. The statement Jesus made in Matthew 13:12 is so important that he made it repeatedly, worded a bit differently, yet containing the self-same law he expressed therein. Pupil, may we have a schedule and some affirmations for daily use? If we have one before us, in print, it should help a lot, it seems to me, in our follow-through. Master, first I shall give you 2 affirmations I have found very effective and powerful when consistently used with profound feeling. Father, I thank Thee for the conscious knowledge that all my good comes from Thee only, and that I no longer look to man as the source of my supply. And 2, God is my ever-present supply, and large sums of money come to me quickly, under grace and in perfect ways, so to bountifully supply my every need, and to spare. Moreover, a careful study of these 3 references will be a great aid, that is Mark 5:36 and 9:23, John 20:29. Lastly, I am happy to give you an excellent routine for daily use that Troward himself gave to me. I have used it faithfully for 35 years now, and it is a powerful help indeed. It is this: Pen Monday, watch your words. Pen Tuesday, watch your feeling. Wednesday, watch your acts. Thursday, watch your receiving. Friday, watch your giving. Saturday, look for the spirit of life and love in everybody and in everything. Sunday, let the Lord's Prayer abide with you continually.